Ham Jumbo. This is Ruth Kamau, and welcome to Wasafiri Africa, where we celebrate Africa and things African. An easy 4.5 drive from Johannesburg, or only an hour from Durban, are the Midlands of KwaZulu Natal, South Africa. Covering a vast area between Pietermaritzburg to just before the Drakensberg range, the Midlands can swelter in summer heat or blow frosty with occasional snow in winter. The Midlands Meander consists of 5 scenic routes and is considered South Africa's oldest and leading destination for arts, culture, and all things touristic. Twendeni, Africa is ready. Khulekani Dlamini is the managing director and founder of KD Group, an investments portfolio firm which benefits from his more than 20 years in the industry. Khulekani made the segue from his aeronautical engineering background with the stealth of a Harrier fighter jet, levitating into the investment management space and eventually cruising as founding partner of Afina Capital Management, from which he divested in 2016 for bigger skies. But far from being just a numbers person, Khulekani Dlamini is an empath with a love for giving back. He sits as chair on the boards of Breadline Africa, Medipost, and Stellenbosch Business School. In between all this, Khulekani is a long-distance ocean swimmer, an avid golfer, and has also launched a podcast, KD Chronicles. So how does his left brain interlock so smoothly with his right brain? Well, that's what we're about to find out. The crosshairs are locked, and it's time to swoop in on Khulekani Dlamini. This episode concludes Season 1 of Wasafiri Africa. Thank you for being part of our journey in conversations. We'll be back in September 2026 with Season 2. Sawubona Khulekani.
Sasa. Habari yako, Sisiri?
Mzuri sana. Okay, you got me there. That is not fair. You're supposed to... Okay. Sawa. Sasa. What? You're supposed to say fiti sana.
See, I got you. I knew you wouldn't expect that.
You know that is so unfair. Here I have been practicing Sawubona Khulekani, and then you go Sasa. Oh my gosh, it's over. It was done in the first 2 seconds. Okay, all right. Blindsided. I did say you have stealth. There. You see, guys?
There we go.
It's not a figment of my imagination. This guy is a Harrier fighter jet. You know, he just rises and sook. The missiles just come and you're not even ready for them. Okay, so seriously, now, I need to know, you know what, Khulekani? I don't even know where to start. So I'm just going to say, why did you stop with the aeronautical engineering? I'm so impressed by that. And you did so well in school as well, you know. I'm going to call it school, not even uni.
Yeah. Look, I came back in 1998 home because, I was, 20-something years old.
You're like a good wine. We shouldn't date you, eh?
Correct.
Okay.
I had a very optimistic view of the world. I was going to come and I was going to change things in the aeronautic space in South Africa. I think I was the first black Nguni aeronautical engineer. There was an Indian guy who was the first black engineer.
Okay, put it there.
And I was given a job to be a manager in a research institution at CSIR. I knew nothing about managing people. I'd just come out of school. And there were people with names like Frick and Flip who were not having it from a little Zulu boy coming out of university. And then I realized I wasn't going to enjoy this environment. And also it was in Pretoria. So it was...
Oh my gosh, guys, everyone from Pretoria. Khulekani said that. I didn't say it. Don't hate me.
No, Pretoria at that time was a different Pretoria.
No,
Pretoria in
I know.
98 was
Yeah,
a different
I know,
Pretoria.
I
It was
know,
a
I know. I used to
hard
go there
Pretoria.
because I relocated to South Africa in 1998.
Wow.
I'm telling a lie. 1999, which is like a
Yeah.
year later. But yeah, I get you. I feel your pain.
No, it was a difficult
The
environment.
jacarandas were beautiful, though.
I was living in a guest house. I didn't have time for jacarandas. I was riding taxis, and the people were paying me 135,000 rand a year as an engineer with a master's degree in aeronautics. So I wasn't enjoying that, and also black tax. Mom expected money. So something had to happen. And so I made a segue. I had a computer systems engineering minor from my university because I really liked computers. So I joined an Israeli company. At the time, it was called Efrat. It eventually was listed on the stock exchange and the NASDAQ. It was called Converse Network Systems.
Okay.
So I worked there for 3 years. It was amazing. I was working on the continent. I was working in the Middle East. It was great. That's when I actually got to travel the continent and see a lot of the continent. It was beautiful. But so that was the transition. After that transition, it was clear that engineering and also a few of my friends kept asking me, like, bro, like, why are you like a field service engineer?
Didn't that sound cool? No.
I didn't really care.
Oh, okay.
I was having a great time.
Okay.
My stuff lived in Joburg. Per diems were like $200 a day. I remember I stayed in Rwanda for 3 months for the Y2K thing. And my meals for the day were like between $3 to $5 for the day.
And your per diem is 200.
200.
Wow.
So
that gives you perspective.
I was having a great time.
Yeah, you were living it up.
You know, and what also was happening at the time was this dot-com boom. And so everybody was investing. The company I was working for was giving options. So I got interested in investing. And I thought I didn't have the skill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join a management consulting company. So every time I'd come back home, I'd go for interviews. And I got into a company called Monitor. But before I could join them, the recruitment agent said, go and try investing. Now, I was living in Joburg at this time. So I said, I don't like Investec. People don't say nice things about Investec, sorry. They're like, no, really, it's just down the road. Go try it. So I go. I go there. The HR lady is this really daunting lady with thick glasses. And boring. I was like, I was right. Investec is terrible. And then they said, the role is in Cape Town. I said, what's this? I jumped at the opportunity, came down, had 13 interviews in one day. 13.
Within Investec?
Yes.
You saw 13 different people?
13 different people.
Wow.
In one day.
Wow.
In one day. One of them was like a 40-odd minute staring contest where this guy, who became a friend to me, came and just sat and looked at me. Didn't say anything, just looked at me. I'm like, okay, stare. So I stared back. And then he got up and he left. And that was that. And then I left. At the time, I was still working for Converse. And we had an installation in Tanzania. We were doing Vodacom Tanzania. So I then went back to my job. And then I got called. I was told, you got the job at Investec. And so that was a transition. So I transitioned from engineering into investment management. It was the craziest thing. So I come into this having had all of this money, this per diem that had accumulated, and I was using it to invest in the stock market. At the time, you really couldn't miss. You could buy anything and it's going to go up. So when I came to Cape Town to Investec, there was no take on. I just got in on a Monday, sat down in a meeting room in the morning, and people kept getting up to go and present investment ideas. And I'd been told my beat was going to be IT, communications, electronics. And one company that I did know well was a company called Grintech. So they said to me, these are your companies. So this company reports their results. And I say, okay, this is the fourth day. It was a Thursday. Fourth day of me being in this company. Remember, I'm an engineer. I've got no training in finance, no training in accounting, nothing. But I'd been obviously investing. So I come and I do my analysis. I set up the presentation. I got torn a new one by the senior guys because they were asking questions I'd never thought of, never heard of before, but it got me attention. My then chief investment officer then gave me attention and gave me training, etc., etc. So that was my transition into investment management. I'm sorry, it's a bit of a long story.
No, it's fascinating.
It was an interesting story to me, having lived it. It was a crazy story. I stayed at Investec for 5 years before we started Afina. And it was very clear. I mean, Investec now is like almost a 3 trillion rand assets under management company. At the time, it was a couple of 100 million. It was a young company at the time. And it attracted some of the best and the brightest of all colors. That's the one thing that the guy, Hendrik du Toit, who's the CEO, the founder, was always good at. He attracted some of the best minds you could find. Even to this day, some of the guys that are out in the world in the financial services ecosystem are just these amazing guys. And also they had a great dress code. So people from Investec were always like very, very sharp.
Yeah.
Like always like,
well, I guess it helps the person coming, they're giving you serious money. So they need to know that, you're being serious.
100%.
Yeah. Is it what is now called, is it 91?
91, yes,
okay.
It's 91. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's grown from strength to strength.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
And not many people have left, actually. A lot of the people that are at the center of this business are still there.
So I guess it's not a bad place to be then.
No, it's not.
So you went to Afina, or you started.
So we started Afina.
Where did your partners come from? What was their ecosystem that
We all came from Investec, funny enough.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the one guy was the golden boy. He was the youngest of all of us. And he actually just stopped. He was managing director of Old Mutual, the investments cluster. The other guy is still now at Old Mutual. The one lady, amazingly bright lady from Zim. Oh my gosh. She had gone to Harvard. She had gone to Oxford, had 2 masters from Oxford, had worked at Goldman Sachs. She was just like this golden bright child. And so we had 4 young up-and-coming black kids. And then we had this young Greek boy who was also crazy, who just decided he's going to throw in his lot with the rest of us. So the 5 of us I think we'd put together about R1 million to start the company.
Yeah, it's not even like big shakes these days. But you were committed and you knew you had a plan.
Yes. And then we went and we started asking for people to give us support. And we've got support. And, but 10 years later, we were sitting there and looking back and saying, oh, wow.
Wow.
25 billion in assets.
Well done.
We were so blown away.
That is, even now, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible growth in a decade. Oh, well done.
We did well.
You did. That
was nice.
And okay, stop being so nostalgic.
No, it really was. Shame. You know why? Because even a lot of the people that used to work with us, even though the company got sold to another bigger asset manager, we had such an interesting vibe. We had such an interesting cohesive spirit, right? That was centered on values. So, for example, brown envelopes. We never took brown envelopes.
Well done.
We didn't take clients to Cubana.
Well done. Do not mess the cave.
Yeah.
Well done.
We just couldn't. Yeah. And we used to say we don't know how.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's
not
just
our
not
thing.
in your DNA.
We just don't know how. So I think maybe let's just not do it.
Yeah.
Right? And so we didn't.
Yeah.
And I think the quality of the leadership, and I'll give kudos to the guy who was our CEO at the time, Tebogo Naledi. He had such a great sort of line of sight into the future. He could see things very clearly.
Right.
And so what we helped craft with him was a very robust environment that was healthy, helpful, that was supportive to everyone that was there.
Have you kept in touch with your former partners?
Yeah.
So you know where they all are? Yeah,
the only one who is out of country is Notando, the lady from Zim.
Yeah.
But everybody else we are in each other's orbits.
Wow, that's amazing. That's good news. That's really good news because, I mean, it's about growing this continent and believing in it. When I think of 10 years and then from 1 million to 25 billion, it's anybody would have loved those numbers. A success story, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And then on to KD straight from there?
No, so what happened towards the end was I wanted to go on sabbatical. I actually wanted to quit. I thought my idea of investing was impact.
Okay.
And what kept feeling or fueling a sense of dissonance was the fact that I was so far removed from direct investment.
Right.
I like the idea of I am helping people directly. I'm doing something directly. I am, applying my skill and capital directly. The whole idea of sitting and behind a desk and basically exchanging pieces of companies with other people sitting behind desks was not a very inspiring
wasn't
thing.
Fulfilling.
No, it really wasn't. Right?
Yeah.
And I think the engineer in me wanted to build things, not just to sit and
That's
manage
the point. Yeah, that's I can see. I can see how that would be. Yeah.
So when I said to my guys, I'm gonna call it. They said no. We've got a new sabbatical policy that we'd crafted, and so we'll pay for 3 months, but you can take 12. So I'm like, awesome. So I did, and then I think just over halfway through, I'm gonna call back. First, I got a private call from one of our clients.
So like 6 months later?
It was about 7 months later.
Okay.
Saying, if you leave, we're going to pull our money. It was one of our bigger clients. I was like, okay. Don't do that. Yeah. That's not cool. And then I got a call from the guy saying, so our clients aren't happy. They think if you're going on sabbatical, you're going to be leaving the company, and we don't like turnover.
You are a people's person, Khulekani. I can see how that would happen. We sit on the board of Breadline together, and I know that you're a stickler for, protocol, integrity, structure, and that's comforting in a way. So I think that's an asset that you have. It's an inherent asset that you have.
I'm grateful for it. I really am grateful for it. But so when I decided I'm going to go, the guys were like, you got to come back. And when I came back, they said, also, we want you to be the CEO of the company.
Oh.
But the company at the time was going through something really difficult because we had lost quite a bit of the capital that was entrusted with us because we were value investors. Value investors are greedy when everybody else is fearful, right? And fearful when everybody else is greedy. So when the stock market is going up, that's the time when, you're a little bit suspicious. The unfortunate thing about that is you then take defensive positions, and therefore your performance is not going to be as good as those people who are taking more aggressive positions because the market is going up, right? So you end up looking like you are getting left behind, and so your peers outstrip you. And because of behavioral sort of impetus that human beings have, people think you can invest in yesterday's returns. You can't, right? So they will see what had happened yesterday and say, we think we're going to take money from Afina and give it to company X, who's growing really well. So we lost quite a bit of capital. And then 2008 came, and all of a sudden we got the capital back again because our performance flipped on a coin. And our view as a value investor was always well-founded. We did a lot of rigorous research to make sure that the assets we were buying were assets that were long-term value, right? Whether the markets are going up or going down, the companies would remain robust. I got entrusted with sort of reshaping the company, which was a very difficult thing to do. Hey, austerity, it's a nice word. It's a difficult action. It's a difficult action.
I don't know if it's a nice word. It just makes me, when someone says austerity, I just think, this is going to be painful.
So, but anyway, we did manage to get to the point where things were neat. Yeah. And then, unfortunately, because once again, asset management, most of these service type businesses are full of personalities. people who were driven by other incentives. And I think I was also at a stage in my life where I thought, I don't really need to bring toxicity into my life. Like, the moment I start feeling that level of toxicity, it's not.
I like, listening to you, I'm thinking, do you know how many times you've denied that you're an empath? Do you know how many times? And I just threw it in there in the intro because I wanted you to tell me, no, Ruth, you can't say that. But you didn't say anything. And I was like, I was kind of super disappointed because I was thinking, I wanted a bit of a tussle. I'm going to use this word. No, you can't. I'm not an empath, But now listening to you.
It's the coaching.
Can you hear yourself?
It's a coaching competency. I learned about it because there was part, like the whole empathy thing and I really love the fact that things like ChatGPT now exist because you can ask questions about types of empathy there is. So if you disaggregate empathy, it kind of works on the head, heart, hands type of perspective. So there are people who are empathic in terms of understanding your framework, your way of thinking, right? So they can identify with the frameworks you use to see the world. Then there are people that can feel what you feel. They can empathize, literally in the word, with how you're feeling emotionally. Then there are those who'll understand maybe the first two and manifest it in action, hands. So they will help you. They'll figure out the thing to do, not just feel how you're feeling, not just understand how you're processing the world, but they'll actually do some stuff. And I think mine was twofold, my understanding of it. And it took some time. It took a lot of looking and kissing some sort of intellectual frog here and there to understand how the world works and how I work more than anything. And a big part was I've got intellectual empathy. And it's followed by emotional empathy. But there was not much I was doing with hands. Like I'm in my head a lot. So I thought, that's nonsense. What the hell's the point? Like, the idea behind being empathic is to understand people where they are and then do something. Do whatever you can.
Yeah, because that's the only way you get that energy to flow out of you. Otherwise, you feel stifled, and you feel, and it's, it also makes you feel kind of helpless.
Yes.
And you're not, because there's something you can do.
And it doesn't need to be a lot of stuff.
No, it doesn't.
It can be a little thing, but that thing, sort of creates that energetic flow into the world. And I think if it's connected, it typically lands well, it's received well because it's well-intentioned. Yeah. So KD has always been an idea that I've had, but it was also a function of a framework that I'd been building for myself since I was 14. So I've been journaling, if you can call it that, since I was fairly young. As a person who's in their head a lot, I really wanted to understand what was happening with me. Like I wanted to understand why I did things that I did so that I can predict what I would do in the future. And so I did a lot of work trying to understand myself. And I kept thinking, I'll do this and I'll procrastinate. I'll do this, I'll do something, I'll procrastinate. 2019 came and I met a friend, Naz, who was doing these types of things. So she helped me with setting up a website, which I built myself, which was great. I had a lot of fun. And even the podcast stuff, she helped me do that. Then COVID came. And when COVID came, it came at the time, I think a year or two before, I'd been appointed onto the advisory board of the business school at Stellenbosch. And I was like, I don't know anything about Stellenbosch. So let me actually just go in and take a course. Yeah. So I took an MPhil in development finance.
Wait, you took a course at the Stellenbosch
University? I did my master's in development finance. So when COVID came, it was the year I was starting my first year in my MPhil. And then COVID came and all of a sudden we're working from home. Like everybody, was doing stuff from home. But that also created a bit of tension. But at the time, I'd been amassing all of this equipment and stuff that I was going to, do this podcasting stuff with. And also, the MPhil dovetailed really well with what I wanted to do, to understand what was going on my continent and really what the challenges were. Because for all that, my time and my experiences were worth, I did have a reasonable network of people that I could catalyze or activate if I understood what the problems that needed to be solved were. And also there was a bit of a lingering thing there, because I remember when I had to do compliance, because, with financial services, there's a lot of compliance. I kept getting beaten up by the fact that I didn't have a finance degree or an accounting degree. So I had to do these weird little courses. And so there was a niggling thing that I needed scratched. I needed to have a degree in finance for sure. And so I went and I got one and I did a cum laude on that nonsense. I was like, yes.
Whoa.
But it
You're
was
not
helpful.
playing.
It was helpful because I walked out of that having a clearer sense of the things that needed doing.
We don't talk enough about the resources that are on this continent.
Correct.
I mean, you just reel them out,
Yeah.
like with platinum is how much?
Platinum is about 75% of the global, we've got 75% of the globe's platinum. Palladium is about 65%. Cobalt is about 70%. I mean,
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing? I don't understand.
I don't understand. Okay, it sounds like I'm echoing here.
I mean, honestly.
No, it's because you said those stats and I was like, wait, what? I know that we contribute a sizable amount, but cobalt, 75%.
You know what I mean?
Every phone.
In one country, in Congo alone.
Hence the interest in the Congo. It has nothing to do with being nice or anything. It's just because it will suit people's needs. Ay. When are we going to stop?
Well, look, honestly, I was listening to two people, Bonang Mohale and Sim Chabalala, on another person I admire's podcast, Dr. Sizwe Mpofu Walsh,
Dalimpofu's,
boy.
yeah.
So good. He's so good. And he was interviewing Sim Chabalala, the CEO of Standard Bank. And one of Sim's keystone sentences was, "This is Africa's century." And I believe it.
I sense it.
Yeah.
I sense it as well. It may look shaky, but I think we're standing on firmer ground.
Correct.
That's why we're having these conversations. That's why these numbers, it's not that they're new numbers. I mean, the resources have been there since before us,
And we
right?
know that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But now we are actually going, wait, what did you say? And it's like a waking up.
Correct.
It's like we're coming out of a slumber and we're beginning to understand who we are. Not what, but who we are. The power of who we are.
We are all entitled to a piece of earth whilst we are around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think our birthright has been stolen from us and we've been gifted a pain body that just keeps giving. To such an extent that we keep forgetting how powerful and how strong we are and we keep being victims. And I think for whatever it's worth, Mr. Trump is probably one of the catalytic events of our time as the continent, because all of a sudden it's quite clear that, the proverbial black man you're on your own is a truism now.
It's like this exporting despicable people. I mean, you call people despicable people, it reminds me of slavery. Correct. It reminds me of apartheid.
Correct.
Despicable people. It's a human being. Let's export them to Rwanda, because this is the farthest place we can think without a sea. We want somewhere where there's no water body that these people can get onto a ship and row there. Yeah, anyway. So with KD Investments, what is your push? How does that speak to you?
So it's been an interesting journey because I'm sure you've heard of, I think it's called the Donneger-Kruger effect, where you think you know some stuff because you've read about it. And then when you come to apply it, you realize that actually you don't.
I need to still learn.
You need experience, and experience is sometimes a very painful teacher.
Right.
So when I started, the idea was, once again, something to continue the idea of Lwembu from back in the late 90s.
Okay.
Right? And now I had a little bit more knowledge. So when I circled back and I thought, the thing I've always wanted to do was to have impact from a commercial perspective. Because impact, just if you just talk about stuff, is nice. But impact, when you control means of production, it means you can really affect people's lives directly. I had a little bit of capital having sold my piece of the company, and, things were reasonably okay. So I started dabbling, lost so much money. I lost so much money. Yeah, I didn't realize what I didn't know. I did not realize what I didn't know. It was a
School fees.
Oh my gosh.
Very expensive school fees.
But I think as time went on, it became clear the things that were of interest. Because I think that's the point. The point is, they always talk about, you must find that thing that doesn't feel like work to you.
100%.
And so I started finding those things where naturally, without prompting, I was finding out more about those things. And there was almost like water flowing in a certain direction continuously. I found myself drawn to certain things. I found myself drawn to learning about certain things. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to throw in my lot with these particular things. And you just, as the Afrikaans would say, fussbait, just hold on.
Clench your teeth.
Yeah, just hold on as hard as I can.
Right.
And a lot of it was really quite hard. Like it was quite hard. I was on my ace, on my own, a lot, which can be quite difficult. Support is very important. And when you don't have it, you don't realize how little you can do. We don't realize fellow human beings are force multipliers. They're not necessarily force multiplier on a one-on-one basis. Like you, for example, within Breadline, you're a catalyst for me. So I know I've got a safe space with you, and it allows for me to know that, I've got somebody whose back is against mine. Should anything, and if I go wrong, I've got support so I don't make stupid mistakes. Because stupid mistakes are much worse things to make than success. Success is great, but stupid mistakes can undo you permanently.
This is true.
And so it was one of those things that I got to realize that, okay, let me actually stop thinking I'm a clever guy. Let me just go start finding people that can help me. I started getting small teams, and it was so helpful because those people are force multipliers. They do the things that you either have blind spots for or you're just not good at. And they also hold you accountable. People like that are quite helpful because they allow you to do the things that you're good at.
Yes.
And you outsource the stuff that you can be good at. And, one of the things I also didn't like doing was paying for stuff. Like, I can do it myself. No.
I'm laughing here.
No, you can't. Pay for things that are good for you in your life that you don't know how to do.
And please don't grudge pay.
No,
that is just bad energy.
Just
be grateful.
Yeah.
Say thank you. Pay with a smile. Pay on time.
Correct. Just pay it. If they come and they say, actually, we need another X for blah, pay it. At some point, it will pay you back. And really, genuinely, it has paid me back. I think having teams, having people that collaborate with you, it multiplies you. And so that's what KD Group was. KD Group started off as a one-man show where I effectively had a few of my assets, listed staff, a little bit of, hodgepodge of things, to what is being honed into something that's actually quite targeted, that's got a very specific direction, with KD Chronicles being a marketing platform, being the thing that tries to get people to at the very least, understand what I understand about the world and what I understand about business. It's not even a marketing thing for the businesses themselves. It actually is an attempt, a feeble attempt at this point, at giving back based on what I've been learning. Because over the last however many years, I think I said since I was 14, I've been crafting this way of seeing the world. And I don't know whether it's luck, I'm hoping it's not, that it seems to be starting to pay off. There's some things that are positive that are happening. I've got a reasonable brand, and it's been a very helpful, almost vessel or vehicle that all of these things that I want to do can happen through. And then KD Chronicles is my little megaphone to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm trying to do. And please help. Please collaborate with me. Please share your insights. Please make me cleverer than I am.
Well, you know what? I know that your first chronicle was very, very interesting. And, I'm looking forward to the sequence,
Yes.
Being predictable and everything. And now you've got to me. To whip you into
She's whipping me that lady.
whip you into line,
gosh.
but I have to say I really like the the sweatshirt you're wearing because it's got your logo, and your logo has always been really cool. And thank you for bringing me one. So yeah, like you said, that's how you roll. So let me say it before you say it. No, but just working like on Breadline and working on with the children, and seeing how investment can be put towards improving people's lives.
Yes.
That is so rewarding.
Correct.
And now that we're going into schools and helping with the pit latrines, it's not just the early childhood education. You begin to see how you can use your gifts, talents, abilities, and your wealth, in a way that makes society healthier.
Correct.
And just creates better conversations, I
Yes.
think. Yeah. So I understand where you're going. I understand when you're going. And in all this, there's this dynamic that's changing the world about how we see money.
Yes.
So we have money,
Yes.
that we can touch and feel, hard cash. Actually, we don't touch and feel it very much
Not
anymore,
much anymore.
Now we're upping the ante with crypto.
Craziness. I mean, it's not new. A lot of these things that we're experiencing are not new. And I love history. History is helpful because they say it rhymes, right? It doesn't repeat, it kind of rhymes. What we've seen over the last almost 500 years has repeated a couple of times. There's a gentleman by the name of Ray Dalio who writes about basically the credit cycles of different countries and how countries evolve from being just little countries to where America is, for example, to being reserve currency type countries. So what Ray Dalio kind of says is there's a trajectory to how a country becomes a reserve currency and then what happens subsequently. And in a few steps, basically the first step is they come with a certain technology that makes them more competitive. That technology allows for them to have disproportionate economic participation in the world. And then they improve or scale up their citizenry through education. And then everybody else starts borrowing money, or rather they start borrowing money from everybody in the world because they are the biggest trade sort of aggregator in the world. And then there's hubris and then they collapse. So if you think about the Dutch, so it's a function of, once again, the fact that like in a place like Southern Africa, they would come here and they would have stuff to trade. But for you to be able to buy that stuff that they were trading with you, you needed to have their money.
Yeah, but now I'm thinking, why would I say yes? Because I'm thinking to myself, how will I go and use this to the next person and convince them that that thing is worth, in my neighborhood?
Because
that is some serious witchcraft.
Yeah. But it's because the other person also believes the same, right?
Yeah.
They think, if I do not have this method of exchange,
Right.
I cannot access this thing.
Yes.
So I'm now happy the Dutch are not here. It's now you and I.
Exactly.
I'm going to trade what I used to trade a cow for 4 goats.
Yes.
Now I say to you, listen, because the Dutch said the 4 goats are worth 5 guilder, I'm going to give you 5 guilder, give me a cow.
That's what I'm saying.
And then the people believe it.
And
they're
then
like,
I might give you my cow. That is
right?
serious, Mojo.
And then that person can go to the Dutch and trade with them. But the point of it was, it allowed for them to effectively be the primary reserve currency of the globe at the time. They then could go and, create a great amount of wealth for their country. And that then meant their country could educate themselves, right? At the same time, because you're the reserve currency, you start being a bully to your neighbors, right? Because
inevitably. Yeah.
Right? And I mean, as you hear this sort of arc, you'll see how repeatable it is, how it's consistently what's happening today is exactly the same.
It's exactly what's happening.
Right. So you then anger your neighbors. You also have people inside the country that think like there's no reason like this guy should be in charge. I think I'm cleverer than they are. I should be in charge. When the arc turns, right, it's at the time when there's internal turmoil and external turmoil.
Okay.
Right, a coalescing of the two things at the same time. And at the same time, because you now are the reserve currency, you feel happy to keep issuing these IOUs in the world to the point where you end up owing more than you can ever pay.
And so you're in debt.
You're in debt. Now, what typically happens, and it's happened once again, that depending on the country you are, if you do this, it might lead to hyperinflation. But they would then start printing money. When you print money, you effectively are taking the stock of value that's in existence, and you're reducing its value
by making more of it.
And so
because
people
the rarity kind of just dissipates.
Yeah, they're not creating any new value.
No,
they're diluting whatever value there is. So now you take this cocktail of an over-indebted country that is spending too much on security and not revenue, that has internal and external conflict, and it usually means collapse. So the Romans experienced the same thing, the Dutch experienced the same thing, and the Dutch, the catalyst was the British coming along and stealing their shipbuilders. So they stole the technology, and then they did it better, and we know the history of the English, the British colonies and all of that, right? So, and the arc is the same. The British went through the same arc to the point where they are now to this day. So we're seeing the same thing with the Americans. So now if I'm going to try and come back to the crypto issue, crypto is based on blockchain. And I think we were having a chat about blockchain earlier. And one of the key things about blockchain is fidelity, the ability to retain knowledge and information and trust, right? I mean, the basics of
I think that's very important.
Blockchain. It's the fidelity of that information.
The fidelity of that knowledge and information.
Correct. And so what's happening now with crypto is not too dissimilar to what happened in the American colonies in the 1790s, right? Where they went from being disparate colonies to being federalized. When they were disparate colonies, they had Spanish dollars, they had UK pounds, English pounds, they had the Dutch guilder. The challenge, and it's quite funny when you think about it, the challenge with having a baseline technology like blockchain, and which has led to Bitcoin, is it's very similar to gold. So Bitcoin is rare, much like gold is rare, right? And if you remember, gold was one of the foundational currencies, if you can call it that. The baseline or the platform being blockchain that creates a fidelity and trust. Crypto is a very interesting instrument that is not too dissimilar at this stage to what was happening in the colonies in the 1790s in America. Over time, what happened is, a lot of people minted different, so states could mint their own money, banks could mint their own money. So you had a country that had monies, like different monies from all over the place, as well as the reserve currencies, dollar, pound, and guilder. So I think where we are is we are still learning what crypto actually is. We have the historical context of understanding the journey of multitude of currencies and mints into a federalized singular, singular currency, right? And we are seeing a really strange tussle because the hegemony of most of the Western countries, most Western economies, is a function of there being a belief that they are trustworthy and their currencies represent a store of value. But it's clear that it isn't.
No, I mean, I think, as you said, as we continue to realize who we are asking questions. It's almost like when your children become teenagers and then, because I said so does not cut it anymore.
Like why?
And it's the why.
Like, why is that? It's an interesting thing. I think with Africa coming into its own, we now are going to start seeing a lot of interaction between African countries.
Right.
And I think that might be a very good catalyst for a formalization of the instruments of trade that actually removes third parties that are not involved.
Do you think that maybe for us, now that crypto is, it's sort of still being discussed in a way, it's in money history terms, it's very young.
It's
an infant.
It's
a fetus.
Barely out of the womb.
Okay,
it's
so it's still
young.
it's a fetus. Okay, so all right, yeah,
it's
so it
very
doesn't
helpful.
Yeah, no, but I just want the analogy to think about where we would come in as Africans.
Yes.
Now, are we too late? Are we on time?
No.
So evidently we're not too late.
No, we're not.
To try and create something that what you were alluding to earlier.
I think the one key thing that's becoming clearer is we know more about ourselves. Historically, we kept getting told who we were. If our knowledge systems become more indigenous, become more about what we are and what we know, we will start, in my view anyway, we will start creating mediums of exchange that reflect us.
This is so important for us, and it's sort of like my bugbear. I just want to keep talking about it. I want to create these conversations where we are looking at Africa as a whole.
Yes.
And that's what Wasafiri Africa is. It's sort of having imaginary travels on the continent through conversation and hopefully even physically to try and, create that cohesiveness where you find that we can work together
100%.
and we are better off working together.
100%.
And guess what? We can now create a medium of exchange that speaks to us.
Correct.
And values what we have for its
What's
inherent,
important to us.
yes, in its inherent value.
100%. I mean, it's once again, the frameworks, because the frameworks, and we don't take them seriously enough. Institutional frameworks that we have been using are not really ours. From legal frameworks to economics frameworks, they are not ours. I mean, it's the weirdest thing for me to think Dutch Roman law, and we say this with our full mouths. It's like our legal system is based on Dutch Roman law. Like we say it without shame, that how we adjudicate justice, how we mete out justice on this continent is based on a bunch of rules other people who are not us actually made. At some point, we need to be responsible for the knowledge systems that we create, because on those knowledge systems, which are the bedrock, the sediment that we build, We will build things that are relevant. We will plant things that make sense for us and to us. Unfortunately, now we live in a world where it's no longer about what information you can absorb and keep in your head. It's now more about what questions you can ask. So with all of the AI things, you can even craft your own tool, AI tool, that can allow for you to understand the world in a relevant manner. We are in a place now where the questions we need to be asking are, what are we doing? What do we want to be doing? And therefore, what can we do and what are the tools that we need? We don't need to go and build the tools anymore. We can just ask for them. And there are systems now that can provide the tools. And then all that we have to do is to be consistent and to be aware of what those tools are doing for us on an ongoing basis. Right now, we need to get rid of people that are trying to steal money and take it to France. Traore is doing an amazing job at that. That lady, is it Nandi from Namibia is doing the same thing.
Yeah, but you know, I think that the support is also coming from, like you said, education.
Yeah.
When I think of even what's happened in Kenya with the finance bill and the pushback it got from the Gen Z, and it's awareness.
Yeah.
It's awareness. They understand. They have the privilege of have been brought up by some of them baby boomers, and what is the next one to baby boomers? Not millennials.
Not millennials.
I'm that, and I don't even know what I am. But anyway, that, know, so the children are exposed to computers, so they know how to navigate their way there and find out information.
Yeah.
They're not intimidated by artificial intelligence, and so they're able to use it to communicate, and all these social platforms online.
Yeah.
And so when you put all that together, they become very unafraid.
Correct.
So I don't know that the leaders don't have a backing. Yes, I understand about the nefarious forces that could be playing in the background because they have so much to lose.
100%.
But the population itself is beginning to turn.
Yeah. There's institutional capacity that follows.
Yes.
Because that's the key.
Yeah.
Repeatability of those things comes from a function of
Yeah.
there being institutional capacity. Institutional capacity comes in service of the citizens.
Yeah.
If it doesn't serve the citizens, it just dwindles and dies away.
Exactly.
And so the people that are stewards of those institutions become irrelevant.
Yeah.
And I think this is where we are, where the people that want the hegemony of the West to continue on the continent, they're just losing favor.
Yeah.
We actually care about the people that are young, who have a view of the history that they want to create, and they want to actually perceive the future and then try and live into that future.
So if you what would you like to see happen on the continent? It doesn't have to be about crypto. It can be.
Yeah.
But what would you like to see happen?
So parts of it are happening already. The unfortunate thing about these things is they're like a ship. It just turns really slowly. And so you don't feel it until it's a decade later and things have turned.
Yeah.
I think for me, the trade agreement was a great
The
first
African
step.
Free Trade Agreement.
Yes. It was an amazing first step.
Yes.
I think the first step is that, the fact that we have started ideologically to understand that we want to trade with each other, first and foremost. Second part.
And that's a big mind shift, eh?
It is.
Yeah, because for a long time, Africans were only looking outside.
100%.
Yeah, so
And we're told that
when
we're
people,
not good enough.
Yes, so when people talk about decolonizing the mind, it's happening.
The second part is mobility.
Okay.
The ability to move within the continent with great ease. When I'm, like I said earlier, when I used to work on the continent, that was one of the most irritating things that, I needed to get
a visa.
It's like, why? So I think that part removes the friction that basically would have been what stops good services from flowing freely on the continent. What I also see happening is what the AU is slowly doing, and I think they don't get enough credit, creating institutional capacity. And we're not going to get it right the first time. We're probably going to iterate until, for 20 times.
But that's the process, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah, and because if you don't reiterate, if you don't evolve, you can't be static. Just because you got it right 10 years ago, that model...
It changes.
It changes. It has to change because that was that circumstance at that time.
That was then and this is now.
This is now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the institutional capacity is going to do. It's going to crystallize how we interact with each other and create the rules that then will create the things that will be manifest. What currency do we want to use as a collective? But it's not going to be what currency do we want to use as a collective as the primary impetus. It's going to be a function of what's been happening, and it's going to be the tool that facilitates better trade. So trade, freedom of movement, creation of institutional capacity, and then starting to believe that the assets that we have can be priced in what we think they're worth. Not
I think to me it's the real value. I'll give you an example. When coffee is not indigenous to Kenya, obviously. So it came in Ethiopia brought by the colonialists. When they were leaving, some of the farms were bought by Kenyans. So we continued farming coffee. It became, one of the best. Arabica coffee is amazing. And even though it's grown in other parts, specifically because of the climate and the soils in Kenya, it is the coffee of choice for blending with other coffees. And now Kenya won, this petition at the WTO that if you use Kenyan coffee, you have to declare that you have used Kenyan Arabica coffee, which I think kudos for us. That is beginning to understand your value.
Correct.
That is when you say, apana, this is what this is, and that is what DRC should do with cobalt. And say, no, you want a smartphone? You want your washing machine to say what? Okay, so this is what this is all about. And so when we start understanding that, we will then start building the structures around that. And there will be an ecosystem that will develop that will reflect that we understand our value, because our roads will be better because we have more value, because we understand what it is to live in spaces that just better represent the value of who we are. Better hospitals, better roads, better schools, safer communities because we have proper housing. It's all that is our value. And it is so important for us to be able to articulate that and translate it into material wealth for us. And I don't mean just riches. I mean living life
standards.
Expectancy, childhood mortality, those sorts of things. So that's really exciting. So, but when you're not being all serious and everything and counting numbers and trying to find your path, what African music do you like to listen to?
So,
maybe that's part of finding your path,
So when I was on the continent in the early days, in the late 90s, Kwasa was...
Okay, Kwasa, yes.
Yeah, because I'm instrumental for my sins. I played the trumpet in church.
Oh, right.
So I then just developed I wasn't very good, but I developed an ear for instrumental music. So I really loved jazz. And when I got to America, I was listening to fusion and all of the big acts. I come back, I find Bongo Muffin, Thandiswa Mazwai.
Oh, yeah.
I found that lady, Diredi.
Yeah.
What was her name? Shame. I loved her. Actually, she used to live here in Cape Town. I gave her a ride to her house once.
Who?
That lady man sings, Diredi, Ugundizandi Pumoya. Oh, come on. The skinny lady, man. Oh, jeez. She
Simply Wedana.
Her. She was.
Oh my gosh.
I loved it.
She is tiny. Yeah, Simply Wedana is.
I loved it. And I was like, okay, I'm home. And home has awesome music.
Yes.
It's not rap.
South African music is out of the park.
And then there's Kwaito at the time.
Yes.
So it's Kwaito. I'm just loving it. Then I go to the continent.
Yes.
There's Kwasa.
Yeah.
I was like, no, guys. No. Yes. I'm like, this is So I loved it. I mean, it's a pity.
Have you been to West Africa?
I have. But
where did you go?
Sure, I went to Nigeria.
Oh, okay.
The rice. Trying to remember.
No,
now.
I was just curious. And food?
Jollof rice.
Okay, so you
love jollof rice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So you got the injection in West Africa, right?
Yeah. Jollof rice,
So
curry goat.
there's always this big debate. Is jollof rice from Ghana?
Or
Is
Nigeria?
it Nigeria? The cousins are always fighting. As we eat it, we're just eating.
I don't care. I mean, I go to Biscuit Mill.
Yes.
They sell both.
Yes.
I buy both.
Yes. Let me be democratic and just.
No, it's just because it's different. Like
it does.
Ghanaian is like subtle.
Yeah.
Nigerian is like Nigerian. Yeah. Oh my God. You need to prepare. Yeah, I know. Oh,
yeah.
You're taking me back.
No, of course we have to go back. We have to talk about jollof rice and what else?
And curry goat, and then South African stuff, obviously, pap and meat and chakalaka. That's standard. It's just standard. I grew up on that. Funny enough, I've never been a big fan of tripe. Yeah, never been a big fan.
Never been a big fan of that.
No, I actually had it.
Sisanyama, generally, no?
I love shisanyama.
Oh, okay.
No, because it's braai, basically.
Yeah.
I love shisanyama.
Yeah, just not the tripe.
I tried Korean tripe. It's bleached, so it's white. Like white. Like white, like a nappy.
Okay, that's just, I don't eat meat, but when you put it like a nappy, I'm like out of there. I brought up my babies. I know what nappies look like when they were
those nappies, not the disposable ones.
No,
the
terry cloth.
Back in Nam.
Okay, let's just stick to the continent. I think it's actually more delectable. Okay, so all right. So, and where would you like to? I mean, you visited all these countries, and there's some places that really spoke to you. So, where would that be?
Tigoni.
Oh, Tigoni.
I've told you about Tigoni, man.
But I am from Tigoni Radio, so I
didn't know anything about it until I was there. I was just like, this is lovely. This. And I can't forget about it. And then I got lucky when I was working in Rwanda, and I went to Goma, funny enough.
Oh, yes.
I went to Kisenyi.
Yes.
The trip there was, we drove. The trip there was incredible. They called it Les Mille Collines, so 1,000 hills. It was beautiful. It's like green, it's lush, and just... So I'd love to go back. Now they say Goma and Kisenyi are like really lovely. They're modern cities. So I'd like to go and visit again and see.
Yeah. It's a beautiful part of the world, and even when you fly over it and you see this, especially if you start from Cameroon, you're coming, take a day flight from Lagos.
Yes.
KQ used to do that flight. I don't know if they're still doing it anymore. And then you just like fly over this evergreen forest all the way to Nairobi. You're like, this continent is amazing.
It's lovely.
It's huge,
lovely.
and I haven't done that trip in a while, so I don't know what it looks like now. But this is amazing. So, where you come from? Are there no hills? Because KZN.
No, of course. No. So the Midlands is a very interesting place. Because KZN is very, the topology is very different. It's like going up Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
So the coastal side is very hilly.
Yeah.
It's like very hilly.
Yeah.
When you see those rolling hills of sugar cane.
Yeah.
So Mom moved there over time, so we ended up living that side. But the Midlands, it's beautiful. It's green in summer.
Yeah.
It is brown in winter. It's flat and it snows. It's cold.
Yeah.
It is cold. Oh my gosh. But it's beautiful in summer. It is cold and dry and
Tigoni, your beloved, is always green.
Always green.
It's never really, really dry, and but it's cold, but it doesn't snow. It's damp. Yeah, we get this constant drizzle. Yeah, but it sounds like you go back. There's lots. It's really been. This conversation has just opened up my mind a lot, especially about crypto and all that, and demystified quite a few things. There's so many things we can continue to talk about, but there's so little time.
I'm sorry, it took longer than...
No,
what you'd intended.
It's a conversation. I'm drinking my rooibos tea. You're having your glass of water. We're in the zone. But thank you so much, Khulekani.
My pleasure.
I really appreciated you spending time having this conversation.
I really appreciate the opportunity to actually just, we chat like these long,
Our chats are
we have these
dangerous.
long chats. Like, can I have 5 minutes? An hour and a half later, having spoken about everything else.
Yeah, but it's wonderful. So thank you so much, and all the best with everything.
Thank you so much for your impact in my life. You've done quite a lot. It's been very helpful.
Oh, thank you. Don't make me cry.
I'm crying myself, so your turn. You've done.
No,
yeah,
I think it's mutual. So thank you. Thank you. I remember when I first met you, I said to you, Khulekani, I want to start a podcast. That was 2019 or 2020. 2020. And you said, just do it, Ruth, just do it. And I'm like, I've just met this person. They're just telling me to just do it. Okay, fine. Let me just go just do it. Then COVID happened. But thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll invite you to mine.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I will invite you to mine.
Thank you. Goodness me. Okay. Don't be rude. So anyway, so thank you. And, everyone for listening. Thank you so much. So until next time, thank you. Twendeni, Africa is ready.